Welcome to this morning's celebration of life. Our musician today is Mick Kinney. And our opening song is page 41 in the Pink Book. If anyone can pronounce German, we could call out the title.
In my thoughts, I am
Gedanken
in my thoughts, I am free. Yeah.
Die Gedanken.
ist
Die Gedanken sind frei, mein Thoughts freely flower. Die Gedanken sind frei, my thoughts give me power. Just the link and mountain, no hunter can catch it, no one can deny. Die Gedanken sind frei. So I think as I please, and if it gives me pleasure, my conscience is free. It's right, I'm unwedded. My thoughts are my prayer to do for a pleasure. No one can deny. The tokens and throw me in prison. My thoughts will go free, like blossoms in season. Foundations will crumble, the structure will tumble, and people will cry. The young sing
Welcome to the First Existentialist Congregation of Atlanta. We are a spiritual community philosophically based on existentialist and feminist principles dedicated to human liberation and protection of the natural world. We make our spiritual home in the old stone church, which was hand-built by the African-American Antioch East Baptist Church. We acknowledge that racial hostility drove those African Americans from the area, and we honor them in the powerful history of this place. We also acknowledge that in the 1800s, the Muscogee Creek people were driven from this land, and we support justice for all indigenous people. For our opening thoughts, hear the words of Oglala Lakota chief Luther Standing Bear. But the old Lakota was wise. He knew that man's heart, away from nature, becomes hard. He knew that lack of respect for living, growing things soon led to lack of respect for humans too. And the words of the leader of the Nez Perce, Chief Joseph. We do not want churches because they will teach us to quarrel about God. It's true, existentialists do not quarrel about God. If anyone has community announcements, would you please write them down? We have index cards in the back, and follow the captain's advice. An example, bring them up here. There's at the table in back there's index cards and pins. And then we'll read them a little later in the service. Are there any newcomers with us here today, or someone who's just been away for a long time? And would you introduce yourself? Mary, could you get the mic back next to you?
I think it could be loud enough. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I'm driving up back to New York to my people, my tribe, my Puerto Ricans, to my daughter and my sister, and so, yeah. And so I came to give love and to receive love, and to let you know, I didn't just say, it's not goodbye, it's just see you later.
Thank you, Minnie.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Oh, sure.
Does anyone have a birthday or anniversary that you are celebrating?
Yes.
Okay, let's sing happy birthday to Charlene.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Harvey. Happy birthday to you.
Keep on keeping on. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to the next song, which is Imagine, found in the Pink Book on page 107. And now we'll have community announcements. They're all up here. Today is the last day of our current exhibition of Amy Miller's work. Next Friday, April 21st, will be our next art opening from 6 to 8 p.m. Today is also the closing performance of Moving Bodies, Moving Hearts, Moving Minds, a Beacon dance production at 8 p.m. It's free, and see Patton for details.
And fabulous.
Snake Oil Medicine Show. Musicians will be playing next Sunday at the service with Craig Rayfuse. Fabulous. It ain't religion without snakes. And a quick reminder that after the service today, we'll serve a potluck lunch and have our annual general membership meeting, which hopefully will begin around 12:30. We need to move efficiently because there's a 3 o'clock event, people coming in. So all the members, please. This just in. Hastily written. House concert. C.J. Jones and Spirit Bones and Snake Oil Medicine. And that's April 22nd at Ted's house. And so see Ted afterwards for details, and you can get that in an email. Okay? Sounds like a great show. Our fellowship minister, the Reverend Marcia Mitzner, is nursing a cold and didn't want to come. So that's, we'll move on to our time of silence. You know, silence helps encourage mindfulness, self-awareness, and creativity. We will have a period of silence, and there are candles on either side of the sanctuary if you would like to light one for any reason. Our next song is Singing for Our Lives in the Pink Book on page 101. Please rise if you are with me. At this time, it's a special moment. Before I ask Mary Howard to come up, I would like to say that filmmaker Art Jones came. We missed our new people. Welcome, Art. And now we would like to recognize our new pledging member that is here today, Mary. I'd like to say that Richard Cohen, new member, is home with a cold, and Marty Keller had another obligation. Mary?
Oh, yes, yes. I would like to
Mary,
introduce...
you need to turn it on.
I would like to introduce...
You need to turn it on.
Turn it on. All right. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Yeah, I just want to introduce to the congregation Kristen Hampton, who actually has been here for a while. She actually joined back in February. So I just figured this was a good opportunity to introduce her to the congregation, and I thought maybe if you have a few words you want to share.
I have to limit it to a few? Okay, that's cool. But first I must do this. Who else can do that? I'm going to bring this down just a notch because I love a spotlight. I'm trying to be all the way here. I'm not much of a joiner, and I'm kind of a flight risk. But I always enjoy this space every time I come, and it just feels the closest to my truth. Something that you might know about me, and then I will stop. Is that I'm having like this spiritual explosion right now, and I'm just like the whole world has totally changed for me. And after my dad died in December, and I feel like he just kicked a hole in the sky, and I now see so much. Okay.
All right. With love and open arms, we welcome you.
Well, love the couplets. I'm all about the couplets. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And welcome to our family, Chris.
In honor of Leon's talk today, we're going to do, and also Wayne's quote, we're going to do another Hallelujah tune here. One of my favorites. It's appropriate for this news today. Churches.
Thank you, Nick. And thank you, dancers. That was awesome. Next time maybe you should just come up to the front here.
Let's bring on the spikes.
Don't get us started. That's right.
Our speaker for today is Leon Clymore. And his topic is Christian nationalism and introduction. Born as Ellis Leon Clymore in 1935 on a farm outside of Chelsea, Oklahoma, Leon attended the Church of Christ in his youth and Church of Christ related colleges. He met Lou Cheney at Harding College in Arkansas. They were married in 1958. 2 months later left for Africa, where they had 3 children born in Lusaka, Zambia, and served in evangelical work there and in Malawi. Leon served as pastor of the Church of Christ in Riverside, California, then resigned and became a computer programmer. Go figure. They moved to Atlanta in 1979, and Leon has worn many hats here, attending Columbia Theological Seminary, becoming a administrator in the Atlanta Union Mission, getting certified as an addiction counselor, and founding and directing the recovery program for men at the mission, and teaching English part-time to immigrants. He and his wife were members of the Oak Ridge Baptist Church for 20 years, and Lou is still there. They have 3 adult children and 7 grandchildren. Leon enjoys reading theology and novels, playing pickleball, exercising, studying Spanish, and helping Lou in the garden. Not bad for an old fellow. Please welcome Leon Clymore.
I hope my actual presence is not a letdown. Linda, we'll miss you, and we wish you the best on your journey.
Thank you.
Mick, I especially enjoyed the music this morning. Thank you. Every time I sing that song, Imagine, it seems to mean more. It gets more meaning for me. I love it. My topic today is Christian nationalism and introduction. I am no expert on Christian nationalism. That's one reason I called it an introduction. Another reason is because I hope we'll have others more expert to speak on this very timely and important theme. I've read many articles and 3 books on Christian nationalism to prepare for this talk, and enjoyed them a lot. If you should read such books, be very careful. They are frightening, depressing, alarming, as well as factual, well-researched, and necessary reading, I think. What is the definition of Christian nationalism? It mixes fundamentalist Christian interpretations with political power to get the government to pass laws to support their opinions and beliefs. Georgia's representative to the U.S. Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, proclaimed that she is a Christian nationalist and proud of it. Since there were many signs and flags with crosses, Jesus saves, and God written on them, at the insurrection on January 6th of 2021, we can safely call most of those folks Christian nationalists. Amanda Tyler Executive Director of the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty, answering the question, what are the most pressing threats to religious freedom in the United States today? She responded, I believe that the biggest threat to religious freedom in the U.S. today is Christian nationalism. She went on, Christian nationalism is antithetical to the constitutional ideal that belonging in American society is not predicated on what faith one practices or whether someone is religious at all. Well, what do Christian nationalists believe? Here's a list of commonly held beliefs. Doesn't mean that every single Christian nationalist believes or practices these, but most of them do. 1, the federal government should declare the United States a Christian nation. According to a recent Pew Research poll, 60% of Americans believe the country was founded to be a Christian nation. And nearly half, including 81% of white evangelicals, think it should be one today. Number 2, U.S. laws should be based on fundamentalist Christian values. Therefore, they oppose abortion, contraception, LGBT folks, socialism in any form, as well as other things. Number 3, being Christian is essential to being a true American. In particular, their version of Christianity, of course. Number 4, God has called Christians to exercise dominion over all areas of American society. Some of them go by the name dominionist. 5, too many of the wrong people are voting. We should restrict voting to true Americans. So we use gerrymandering, ID laws, fewer drop boxes, limit mail-in voting, less time for voting, cull the voter lists. Paul Weyrich, co-founder of the Moral Majority, in a 1980 speech said, I don't want everybody to vote. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down. Number 6, white Christians are the most discriminated group in America. No data to support this that I know about. Number 7, a deep belief in free market capitalism and that is less regulated. You may remember that this philosophy gave us the Great Depression and the Great Recession. Number 8, teaching of America's past slavery and racism, ethnic cleansing of the indigenous peoples, and our treatment of LGBT plus folks should not be allowed. It's so negative. Number 9, the U.S. is so far gone politically, morally, and spiritually that an authoritarian leader and even violence may be necessary to set things right. Is this the motivation for the tsunami of gun ownership and for not allowing restrictions on guns in our country? 11, a preference for more authoritarian leaders. They get things done. Number 12, public education has become secular. Teaches wokeness, liberal and progressive ideas, pluralism, empathy, respect for all kinds of people, including minorities and gays, and therefore, Christian academies or homeschooling are needed to truly educate our children. 13, Lower taxes for those with higher incomes. They are the job creators, we're told. 14, require women to be submissive to their husbands, stay home, and have lots of babies. Mike Pence has voiced this preference. 15, an assortment of other things like prayer in public meetings, 10 commandments in public places, Christian nativity scenes, prayer in schools, taxpayer support for Christian schools, laws against abortion, promotes racist tendencies and violence and hate and the gun culture and patriarchy and a revisionist view of history. Well, doesn't sound too good, does it? Scary. It's very scary, and the deeper you look into it, the scarier it looks. There are all kinds of organizations out there busy at work, undermining the institutions of our country and our democracy. All in the name of God and religion, of course. You need a veneer to smear over some of your tricks and activities. Robert Jones, president of Public Religion Research Institute, wrote, Christian nationalism is a new term for a worldview that has been with us since the founding of our country. The idea that America is destined to be a promised land for European Christians. While most Americans today embrace pluralism and reject this anti-democratic claim, majorities of white evangelical Protestants and Republicans remain animated by this vision of a white Christian America. A survey by Mr. Jones found that Christian nationalists and sympathizers comprise at least 29% of Americans. That's over 100 million. Well, Christian nationalism has been with us since Constantine in the early 300s. Constantine needed a religion to unite his many peoples and states, and the Christian religion, tired of persecution, longed for support and encouragement. And Constantine built many churches and paid salaries and was just a great boon, they thought, to the Christian religion. It actually was the beginning of its fall. The Roman Catholic Church, which grew out of that, commonly formed relationships with the political leaders of the states of Europe. That gave us the Dark Ages of Europe, where theocracy reigned. Theocracy is the government of a country by the religious teachings and opinions and codes of the religious leaders. This led to the Inquisition that burned books, restricted education, burned alive thousands of heretics and so-called witches. Christian nationalism on a grand scale. When the Pilgrims and the Puritans came to the New World for religious liberty from the opposition of the established churches of Europe, they immediately began their own form of Christian nationalism, which included enslaving and killing the indigenous peoples and establishing their own harsh laws, rules, morality codes, and using the political authorities to enforce them. The Pilgrims and Puritans of New England wanted a theocracy. The Puritans of Massachusetts executed 4 persons for being Quakers. The Puritans imposed the death penalty for worshiping other gods, for blasphemy, for homosexuality and adultery. For Christian nationalists, since Constantine, religious liberty has always meant they are free to impose their religious rules and codes and interpretations on others and have the state back them up.
Yeah.
After the independence of the colonies from Great Britain, the founding fathers had to put together a new nation and a new constitution. They remembered the theocracies of Europe and the tendencies to repeat them in the new colonies. As Andrew Seidel wrote, speaking of our colonies, those Christian governments were so tyrannical that they became examples for the founders of how not to build a nation. So the founders decided the USA would be different, unique, nothing like it in the world. It would be a secular government with no established religion. Religion would not be favored or opposed. So our Constitution does not mention God, Bible, church, Jesus, 10 Commandments, or any of the rest. Fundamentalist churches work to gain political support so as to remake the USA into a Christian nation, Christian with quotation marks.
Yeah.
Why has it grown so much in the last few years? Well, many scholars believe it's largely a response to the profound cultural changes our country has experienced in the last 50, 100 years. A black president, gays being accepted by the public, economic downturns for the less educated, new lifestyle, pluralism, progressive values, accepting of immigrants, people of color, and how outsiders appear to be replacing those who were here first. First or second, maybe. Whites are soon to be a minority of our population. Of course, racism and white supremacy are huge factors. Well, what are some of the evils, more evils of white Christian nationalism? They want to eventually abolish public education and get taxpayer support for private Christian academies. 1979, Jerry Falwell said he hoped to see the day when there wouldn't be any public schools. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Second, the values of Christian nationalism seem quite different from traditional spiritual values of love and compassion and justice and tolerance and empathy. There's a hardness, prejudice, even hate and violence involved in it. And Christian nationalists have called authoritarian leaders heroes, and have included on the list Putin, Trump, and even Hitler. They have packed the state, federal, and Supreme Court with radically conservative judges. Big changes already, loss of abortion rights. They urge us to ignore the world and its needs and put America first. Number 5, promoting state and federal laws to allow health care providers, doctors, nurses, x-ray technicians, pharmacists to refuse to serve or treat patients if it happens to offend their religious beliefs or moral convictions. For example, Catholic hospitals do not offer the kinds of medical care needed by women experiencing pregnancy complications or miscarriage because it's against their religious beliefs. Well, how can we stop the growth of Christian nationalism? We can expose its goals and methods, which are often secretive and devious. They're managing to get more and more religious schools supported by taxpayers, which is unconstitutional. We can denounce Christian nationalism as against the real spirit of Christianity and is anti-democratic. We can vote for candidates who are for democracy and for a wall of separation between religion and government. Humanists in Minnesota have put billboards near the state capitol which declare, "Reject Christian nationalism, keep religion out of government." We can work for eliminating the privileges and tax support of all religions. We first years are not a religion. We are a philosophically based group of free thinkers. We believe in working for justice for all, for the common good, for the beloved community. We need to keep our eyes open, oppose any laws or programs that enable religion to gain governmental support. Thank you for listening.
Can I just say, when we started, we had a refrigerator full of beer. I need that today.
Wait, I discovered another community announcement. I don't know when it's good to do that.
I'm sorry.
I have one community announcement I forgot. I didn't think about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,